watch this fight, what you learn is like what Conor McGregor figured out. What Conor McGregor figured out is that what holds a lot of these guys back is movement. And so if you look at Tony Ficklin as he's moving towards Anderson, his movement, he's very limited. Like he can't cover distance quick enough. He has to make these little hop steps.
Right.
He can't just slide in and blast things. Conor is fluid with his movement in and out to the point where he can step forward, and obviously wouldn't be able to do that with Anderson Silva, but he can step forward and step in and step out. Like when he fought Jose Aldo, one of the most important parts of that fight was that Aldo was trying to figure out the movement of Conor. Like go to that fight, Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor, and what Conor was doing so good was sliding forward and sliding back.
There's like that one moment, because it's a very short fight, but there's the one moment where he like feints a thing and jumps back.
Right here. See, like you stand in front of him, see how he pops.
Yep.
But look how like he's in and out. He's moving a lot, and it's a different thing. Boom, slides back and drops the fucking left hammer on his chin. And it's that movement that's so critical in a really high-level fight. Like, look how fluid he slides back and launches that punch at the same time.
It's very interesting to me, too, because it was a different intensity in his movement than, like, when he fought other guys like Chad Mendes and other, because he respected what Aldo throws.
Yeah.
Like, Aldo throws heat, and especially in that first round, when Aldo's furious at you for disrespecting him all. Like, he knows he's coming with, like, a bomb. But, yeah, but it's superior movement.
It's also new, unorthodox movement. Boom. I mean, in a lot of ways, they've been doing that shit in karate tournaments forever.
Right.
But people hadn't figured it out in MMA yet. I mean, if you look at a lot of what Conor had done with his stance and his movement, a lot of it resembles what you see in like karate point tournaments, where they would leap in and drop a shot on you and leap out. But they weren't fighting stationary people like Aldo that just charged forward. But Aldo got used to fighting in that manner.
Yeah, fighting Muay Thai guys and that kind of MMA look. It's a completely
MMA
different look.
The wrestling look. Yeah.
Well, you know what's really fascinating to me just on this kind of evolution was, God, what's his name? Cejudo? The guy who fought Demetrius Johnson, Henry Cejudo, who just, I don't know,
who fights like him now.
Now he all of a sudden he adopted this style, and you're like, holy shit, this style gives people real problems in MMA.
Yeah, man.
And it's like I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it reminds me a little bit of almost like Machida type thing, like, but
You're
it's
not
like
wrong
this,
at all.
it's this weird karate kind of thing that. It's like this weird evolution, like once you have all the other shit, and what Conor does is he's also got really good traditional boxing. So like not a lot of MMA guys couldn't do 10 rounds with Mayweather. They get, you know, like he's also got boxing, so he can kind of mix it up with like traditional boxing attacks and this crazy other shit. So what's crazy about him is he'll be like throwing like these crazy spinning like cartwheel kicks, and then he'll just have like a 1-2 that was like perfect, which that's new to MMA. Like we haven't seen a lot of that in the past, and you know it's
those kicks are longer too. You're dealing with something that reaches much further than the traditional Muay Thai techniques or straight boxing techniques. He's throwing side kicks. His head is so far away from you. When he's throwing a side kick, if he's touching you in the chest with a side kick, there's no opportunity for you to counterpunch. He's way over there. He's bent sideways. His head is way out of reach. You might be able to catch him with a kick if he comes forward after he drops the side kick if you're in range, but you might get pushed back. There's a lot of factors involved to fighting a guy who fights like that, and Cejudo's figured that out. And then he just dropped some bombs on Wilson Reis.
Which is, you know, I mean, obviously, like, you know, Demetrius Johnson is like head and shoulders above
everybody
else, and he made quick work of him.
Yeah.
But that was like, at least to me, like a little like glimpse of like, oh, well, maybe if this guy is this good a grappler and is figuring striking out like this, maybe he's the guy who could, you know, like be a good contender.
It may happen very well. I mean, he might challenge him one day. But what Henry Cejudo represents is like extreme talent, a real sponge for knowledge and information, and he's got a guy that's in his division that's the king, that's, in my opinion, the greatest martial artist of all time. I don't think there's anybody that's been a better representation of what's possible in modern martial arts better than Mighty Mouse, because he just doesn't get hit, and he fucks everybody up, and you can't hit him, man. He's coming at you, and then all of a sudden he's over here, and then you got a knee in your body, and then you got punched in the face, and you're trying to figure out what the fuck's happening. All of a sudden you're on your back, and he's dropping hammer fists on you, and by the time you're reacting to that, he's got you in an armbar. You're like, what the fuck just happened to me?
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
Steamrolled.
He fights like he's a specialist at every discipline.
Yeah.
Like he's like you feel like he could beat all the specialists at their discipline in MMA. It's like what George St. Pierre used to kind of do. But I do think in modern MMA and more dominant, not going to decisions, destroying everybody. He's about to break the record. Hard to argue with.
About to. You know, who knows? Ray Borg's still a tough customer.
You're right. I shouldn't grant him the
Like
victory.
when Weidman knocked out Anderson Silva, nobody saw that coming. This is a crazy sport.
Oh, it's not. It is a crazy sport, and it's like it seems like nobody can escape it.
Right.
Like it's like it takes the toughest, most invincible person you can think of, and like Anderson Silva was a ninja, an untouchable ninja, and then you see him crying in the center of the ring with like a shattered, not shattered, but whatever, split up shin bone. I mean, it's like. It's Chuck Liddell, like all
Cain
these
Velasquez.
guys. Cain,
we saw Junior Dos Santos drop a bomb on Cain Velasquez, and Cain collapsed. You're like, wow, even Cain can get KO.
And then Junior Dos Santos, who at that point, then I was like, well, after that, you're like, I guess we're living in Junior Dos Santos's world. I mean, this guy's destroyed everyone, and then to watch him get oof.
He got nuked by Cain in the rematch. Cain just came back and beat the fuck out of him. But Cain in the first fight really probably should have been fighting, but it was the first big fight on Fox, and he had a fucked up knee, man. He couldn't move right. And he just couldn't get out of the way.
His only 2 losses were when he was coming off an injury. I believe he was coming off an injury against Fabricio Verdum as well.
Well, he was always coming off injuries by that time.
That is a problem.
But the real problem with the Fabricio Verdum fight was that he didn't prepare in Mexico City. Because Mexico City is at 7,500 feet above sea level, which is where I was in Utah last week. I couldn't imagine if you didn't train there that you could be adapted to it the way Fabricio was. Because Fabricio is smart. He was there for, like, I think a couple months.